I would like to call to order this meeting for the Sustainability Commission for Tuesday, June 11th. Betty, go ahead with the roll, please.
Alderperson Quigley,
Here.
Commissioner Black,
Here.
Commissioner Henry Gillis.
Here.
I don't see Commissioner Lawton or Commissioner Slavin. Commissioner Van Schindel was excused. Commissioner Weber.
Here.
And Advisor Dragseth.
Here.
All right, fantastic. Public comment upon any matters not on the agenda. Comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Sustainability Commission. I don't have my list in front of me, but I don't think we have anybody on the call that's not a member of the commission or staff. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So for the second time, any public matters? And for the third and final time, any public comment on matters not on the agenda? In which case, we will go ahead with the agenda. Number one is consideration and possible action on the election of a chairperson. Chase, did you want to say something first, or do we just go ahead and take nominations?
I think we just go into deliberation and take nominations. I don't know if it's annually, Betty, or not, but we have to consider the election of a chairperson and vice chairperson for this committee or commission.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's annual.
It is.
Yep. So I would take any nominations. I just also want to point out I've been the chair for the last 2 years, and I wouldn't be offended at all if somebody else wants to act as the chair for the meetings. You know, it's just reading agenda, but like I said, anybody, let's see if I can tell here. Let's see, active cameras, that's still not working. Messing around with my settings here, sorry.
Excuse me. May I speak?
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm sorry, I'm still messing with my camera here.
So how does this work? You said, can we take nominations? Are we allowed to nominate ourselves? Do we have to be nominated?
You may nominate yourself, or you can nominate somebody else, and then once that nomination is made, if you're nominating somebody else, that person can decide whether they want to accept the nomination or not. If we have more than one candidate for each of the positions, we would have just a straight up vote. Majority wins for the chair and the vice chair.
The vice chair acts as chair in the absence of the chairperson.
Thank you. Yep.
So I'll nominate myself.
All right. Thank you, Janie. Are there any other nominations for the chairperson? All right. Then I would go ahead and close the nominations. I would make a motion that we have a unanimous vote for Janie Black as the new chair of the Sustainability Commission. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And everybody? All those opposed to Janie, please say nay. Okay, I'm not entirely sure. Did we have some that didn't vote? For some reason, I don't have you all showing up on the same screen at the same time. All right, in that case, we'll go ahead and say that Janie is the new chair of the Sustainability Commission. And Janie, are you comfortable running the rest of the meeting? If you got an agenda in front of you, you can. Well, I don't know, Betty, does it start now immediately, or is that at the next meeting?
It starts immediately.
That's why I thought I felt a change in the air. Congratulations, Madam Chair.
I can't even see the, there we go. No training or anything, huh? So are we moving to consideration on the vice chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, so any nominations for the vice chair?
I'll nominate myself for that.
All right, any other nominations? All right, so we'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 I couldn't tell if that was everyone. We're waiting for one.
President Biden also said today he will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to
Betty, was that everybody? Or are we waiting?
Commissioner Lawton, we're voting on Emily Henry Gillis to be vice chairperson. If you're in favor, if you could say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and all those opposed? Oh. All those opposed? All right. So then, Emily, you officially become chair from this moment on.
Vice chairperson.
Vice chairperson. All right. Next on the agenda, approval of the April 9th, 2024 Sustainability Commission meeting minutes.
I am more grateful today for the love and support I experienced this last
I would make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
that I am disappointed by the outcome. Recovery is
All right, so
I am blessed.
moving on, update on partnership with Greener Bay Compost.
We need to vote on that, Janie.
Okay, thank you, Betty. All those in favor of approval of the meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Rachel, I didn't hear from you. Commissioner. Okay. I think she's having muted problems. Can she do like a thumbs up? We got a thumbs up, okay. Anybody opposed?
Aye. Sorry. No.
All right. And anybody opposed? All right. So moving on, update on partnership with Greener Bay Compost.
Yes. So I just want to provide the commission an update with our partnership with Greener Bay Compost. Their agreement between the city and GBC Greener Bay Compost has kicked off, and we've passed our first month of registration and composting services. In the first month, 52 residents had registered for composting services, and the city covered then $530 in registration fees. Those 52 residents generated just under a half ton of food waste that was then collected by Greener Bay Compost. It was 959 pounds, 959, almost and a half pounds. Currently, I know in the memo I say 60 residents have registered, but I am up to 63 now since I've last drafted this. So we are still gaining traction, and we had an article on Greater Green Bay, or We Are Green Bay, Channel 5 News, highlighting the partnership as well, which gained them traction and additional eyes who wanted to register. So it's an ongoing conversation between me and Corey as more and more people are reaching out to him to take part of these services, but so far it's been going pretty swell.
Do you think that as part of that initiative that we could maybe get some personal stories after they've done it, like for a month or something that we could spotlight?
I don't know. The city isn't reaching out to these residents directly. I think we have a couple elected officials who are taking part in the services. So those people I'm aware of, and I have a list of everybody, but for us to reach out and target people to do stories, I guess I wouldn't know how to approach that, and who do we pick off this list to do that. That'd be more something maybe that we can coordinate through Corey if someone wanted to reach out and see if he had someone he wanted to use to tackle that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. That's what I was thinking actually is as people give feedback, he could say, would you mind, that City of De Pere could spotlight you.
Right. Or if we wanted to have the commission generate questions that we could pass on to Corey too, something we could post in the Facebook post, that'd be a good idea as well, just so we have a little more control of the narrative that then goes out.
A reminder regarding composting is that it is one of our topics for a farmer's market booth. And it's on my radar to maybe have composting pitfalls. I've talked with him one time at an outside event, and he just happened to bring up common errors. So it would be good to maybe have that discussed.
Yeah, and we did confirm that Corey will attend that farmers market in conjunction with the Sustainability Commission, and that's gonna be right up his alley. He's gonna be great with the people that are there, and he'll love to chat about this. He's just a wealth of knowledge.
How many more residents can we take?
So at our current rate, if I were to extrapolate this for June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 7 months. It really depends on how the registrations come in. I could easily do double what we have at the current registration rates. But if all of a sudden more people are going for every other week instead of every 4 weeks, then it'll change. But right now we're well within the capacity, and I'm only slated to maybe reimburse $4,000 at our current clip. I'll update again in June or in July based off the June totals and show how we're going. But yeah, we still have capacity.
Janie,
Yes.
if you get some personal stories or narratives, if you want to do that through Corey, that's great. I would be willing to do that too for Facebook. Just like 5 minutes before we started this phone call or this meeting, Corey picked up my bucket yesterday, and so he sent me a picture, and he's really good about giving feedback, and it's not judgmental, and it's always an education piece of just so you know, here's what we need to do better. He's also a real positive guy. It's like, he focuses on the positives. It's not just like you're getting a scolding for the one thing that you did wrong. So I'm sure there are other stories out there, but if you're stuck for somebody, I'd be willing to talk on that topic.
I've
think
also
that'd
been
be-
doing it for like a year, so happy to help.
I think that would go a long way, because that's that peer-to-peer conversation. Some people won't do it because they don't know exactly what to expect. So I think it would be cool. So any other discussion on Green Bay and the composting program?
John, I don't see you as a registrant on the program.
I didn't. I'm doing the composting, but I asked him not to do the City of De Pere discount because I
Okay.
didn't want to look like as an older person that I was using the program to get a discount on my own services. So
Well,
yeah,
I
I'm
can
kind of off the
confirm
books, I guess.
You wouldn't be the only older person, so I
Okay.
would take advantage if you can, but might as well save money. This is for De Pere residents like yourself.
All right. Well, I'll take that under advisement.
All right.
Thanks.
Any other discussion on the composting program? All right, moving on to discuss clean energy work plan and updates.
Yeah, just wanted to save this slot for the green energy or clean energy work plan team, just to discuss the progress since the last time we've met. I think it's been 2 months now. So I'll open up the floor to the commission to discuss your findings and progress so far.
I can speak on it if you want. So we've met 2 times now to do some comparisons of clean energy plans, renewable energy plans around Wisconsin, and to make some recommendations for ourselves on what we like, what we think works. So far, the timeline that we have discussed and seem to be in agreement on as of now is that the 2 agenda items to start working on is to get that baseline assessment and to get a budget for that with a consulting firm. And so we're working on drafting a request, a financial request, which we do have the draft complete, but it is missing key information. And I can say I've made contact with a consulting firm, just an initial contact to maybe get an estimate, but we haven't seen any estimate in our subgroup yet. So we can't really speak on that. The other part is that we've worked on is the idea of town hall meetings on the different categories of energy, just the different categories that we've seen in the work plans, to do specific town hall meetings to start that public involvement. And then from there, it would feed into somewhat of a steering community that would help formulate the initiatives that are for De Pere. And all of that fits in with the mandates of the work plan. So that's the update so far of what's been discussed and hashed out, if anyone wants to elaborate.
I wanted to share, and I was not able to be at the last meeting when the subgroup met, but my role was to reach out to WPS because the city of Green Bay said that they were really critical in helping to establish a baseline. And what I was told from the staff there that was in charge of that plan was that it would be better that the mayor's staff would reach out to WPS with questions about energy use and things like that I think would be really important in trying to establish this baseline. So I was hoping to kind of get an update on that and also share that information. Did you guys talk about it or not at the group?
As far as WPS not responding, we might be able to, maybe we can get around some of that, right? Just the initial request with one consulting firm, I didn't reach out to multiple just because I knew I wouldn't have the time to coordinate with multiple people at the moment. But maybe we can get some of those questions that you would wanted to know from WPS from a consulting firm. But we haven't, no one else has made any attempt at this point.
Okay. It really was their recommendation because the mayor is going to be involved in this, is that there's access that they will give to him and his staff about our city that they may not give to us.
And I think a piece of that is that Chase, as a city employee and as the representative of the Sustainability Commission, he might be a good person to have too. So I will see the mayor later tonight, and I can have a conversation about him if there's a better way to make that request of WPS. But I would agree, Rachel, if we know what are the questions we want to ask of WPS once we do get that communication going, and hopefully it'll be an ongoing communication, not just a one-time back and forth thing.
This also would fall in line with the Green Tier Legacy Committee or community information we need to provide on our annual report, because there's a lot of baseline energy information we need to provide to the DNR. So you can approach it from both angles, not only from the commission's perspective, but also from the community's perspective as being a part of the Green Tier Legacy communities.
Just a quick question. We could probably, we don't have to discuss this. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that on the subcommittee knows that the draft of the request is available to review and make comments on or anything like that.
And from an estimate standpoint, for that consultant, I thought the Green Bay report did have their funds listed in it and what they spent to generate it.
Yeah, we saw a lot of comparisons of other cities, and right now, we looked at La Crosse, Green Bay, possibly I think it was Eau Claire, and we're significantly smaller. So I don't know. I wonder if that would affect a price point. So it might be a good idea to just get another idea based on our situation too. So that's my thinking.
Understood.
Yeah, we kind of, as a subgroup, decided, it's helpful to have Green Bay having already done this, but they are really different. And their fleet is different. Just everything is different. And so I would agree with what Rachel is saying for sure. Any other updates on the clean energy work plan or discussion? All right. Next is the Clean Air Initiative update.
Right, similar to the clean energy work plan updates, just leaving the slot open to discuss our clean air initiative. At the March 12th meeting, we discussed drafting a classroom air monitor pilot program for consideration. Also, we do have a budget to purchase air monitors, but we got to get estimates and quotes of different options to consider prior to moving forward with that as well. We'll leave that back open to the commission now to discuss.
Right, so I actually spoke with the person that headed up installing all the indoor air monitors in the schools in Denver. And I learned a lot. So I wanted to dialogue about this. I don't know if anybody's aware, but a few months ago, a school had a carbon monoxide leak. And did anybody hear of this story?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was confirmed as. I think I stopped following it myself, so you probably have
Yeah,
more.
thank you, Rachel. I don't know if they 100% confirmed it, but in light of that, a representative is writing a bill to put one in every classroom. Along with that, there's also CO2 monitors, and there's been a push that this is a much cheaper investment for classrooms, and CO2 monitors will read air quality the way kind of like an indoor air quality monitor does, but it's not as extensive. And I'm going to use the word maybe as more people might be comfortable with it. So I am wondering if we discuss, instead of getting indoor air quality monitors, which on the back end can be, the complication factor is that in writing up this work plan for it and how it's going to work is the monitoring side of it. So who gets access to that? And there's some ins and outs with that. With a CO2 monitor, schools might feel like that is less invasive. And also it goes kind of along with the carbon monoxide ones too. I just want to open it up for discussion.
Jumping in from the city standpoint, I see it being a little more feasible, like you said. It's going to be more accepted by the school district. It's something that's more commonplace. Then just to update the group, because we're virtual, I can just sit here and Google. It was Crandon Elementary School. They closed down in March, and they went down until April 2nd following carbon monoxide poisoning incident. It was a mechanical issue with their furnace, is what was listed in the paper. But
Because schools are not required to have that, and that's why this representative is writing this bill. But that could be a bit, they're not in session and all of that. But just with all that happening, it gave me an opportunity to kind of sit back and go, what is the best approach here that's going to be more accepted by everyone? And CO2 monitors are cheaper. There's actually a monitor that reads carbon monoxide and CO2, and those are about $50, $60. So I don't know. Any other thoughts?
Janie,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know, or if Chase, if you can tell from the Crandon story, would a CO2 monitor have caught whatever their issue was that's caused them to close down?
So a CO2 monitor would have caught the fact that something was wrong with the air.
Okay.
It wouldn't have picked up the carbon monoxide, but again, it would have picked up things like lack of ventilation, like something was wrong. The EPA says that a CO2 monitor cannot replace a carbon monoxide monitor, and that's why you can buy one that does both. CO2 is important because that's air quality. You know what I mean? But it's still, in my mind, would have picked up something's not right.
No, I understand, and I agree with that. I think we have kind of a fine point here where we don't want to get too far ahead of the game if we kind of start working toward CO2 monitors, and then there's a law that comes out in the next year or two that's going to mandate a more extensive thing anyway. At the same time, I don't think we should hold back and wait until the legislature decides something, because it could be a lot more than 2 years. So that's not much help. I'm in the middle on that one.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of like, I just wanted to put it out there and get opinions and feedback and critiques, because in the long run, I think what I would love to propose is changing it from an indoor air quality monitor, which can be kind of pricey, to a CO2 monitor that also would regulate carbon monoxide.
What's the difference between a CO2 and carbon monoxide monitor and the air quality monitor that we were talking about last spring?
Yeah. Well, an air quality monitor is going to give you VOC levels. It's going to give you PM 2.5. It's more intricate, where CO2 is really picking up lack of ventilation, which really is the major issue. It's going to read if something's not right. And indoor air quality monitors also read CO2. So it's not as complicated. It's a lower level, but again, I just keep thinking about this factor to get buy-in from the schools to say, hey, we have this monitor, it reads carbon monoxide, which is really important, and CO2, which is about ventilation. So if this thing would go off, it's easier to speak to, because we know, hey, there needs to be more air exchange going through the furnace. Indoor air quality monitors can get complicated, and this could be about our level of being able to help schools correct a problem if one arises, and that's my concern.
I have a question, because I wasn't around for the previous discussions you've had on the Clean Air Initiative. Would this idea of a carbon monoxide and CO2 monitor still satisfy the main purpose and need of the initiative? Say there was one that also couldn't pick up particulate matter. Does is the main need and concern, not particulate matter. You know, kind of switching devices, would it still cover the most concerning things for you?
Yeah, I do believe so. There's a lot of literature out there about CO2 monitors being able to tell if there's something wrong. And typically it's just like common sense from there. And it's usually about ventilation. When you talk about air quality, that's kind of what we're talking about. So PM 2.5, it's highly dangerous. VOCs are highly dangerous. That's like if you spray air conditioner and people are inhaling that. But if a room's not properly ventilated, a CO2 monitor is going to pick that up. So in my mind, it does satisfy in a more community type way.
Then I would say I would agree maybe with what was said previously about waiting and seeing if something is passed, because if a bill is passed, maybe there's some funds appropriated to push that forward. But then again, how long does that really take too? I don't know.
There is no way to say that particular bill with the carbon monoxide. There's funds available to school. It's kind of called if it's a health issue, and that is what he's proposing that schools are able to use those funds on. I'm either proposing we change it from the indoor air quality monitors to just CO2, or a monitor that reads carbon monoxide and CO2. So.
And Janie,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go back to clarify. I think it's something you said earlier. If we get an air quality monitor, it's going to be putting out a lot more data, but then one of your issues was who's going to monitor the data, or besides the school district, who's going to have access to the data? Is that correct?
Yes, how are we going to answer the questions? Because in the process of trying to write up this, how does this look plan to propose it to the committee, that kind of is above what we can do, right? I can speak to it, but there's just so much.
So I guess my vote would be what you've been talking about, either a CO2 or a carbon monoxide, something like that, simpler than the overall air quality indicator.
Okay.
To circle back, just reading through the rest of the article, carbon monoxide detectors aren't even allowed or required at the university level. There's been dorm rooms or entire dorms that have had to be evacuated due to monoxide leaks. Two representatives on the state level are looking to pursue this. And the quote is, there may be a path forward after November following election results and a new budget. So I wouldn't anticipate any changes this year based on this. And again, even as Scott has always stretched, we're looking for baby steps. And I think a carbon monoxide detector is a really achievable baby step getting into the schools and promoting air detection and air quality, something that's achievable in the short term.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it would bode well, as a first step in creating those partnerships and support for us, as a commission and a city to say, hey, we think this is important enough that we're going to give you one, I think it would be cool. So Chase, what do we need to do?
Looking forward, the next steps would be just getting that proposal set up. We do have $1,500 set aside for air monitors. You threw out that $60 figure, so if we're talking $60 a pop, that's 25 air monitors we might be able to buy once we get a policy in place, have it reviewed and approved by the schools. And I don't see that being as big of a headache in comparison to an air monitor. But yeah, getting that policy is the big first step, and having the committee review it and approve it, and moving forward from there.
All right, so are you saying that you need me to write that up as a draft so that the committee can look at it for next time?
Yeah, if you want to write something up, you can send it to Betty or I. We can disseminate it to the committee for review and comments and bring it forth to another meeting for maybe final approval and consideration.
All right, so any other discussion on the Clean Air Initiative? All right, moving along to stormwater art discussion.
All right, similar to clean air and clean energy, providing Commission another opportunity to speak on stormwater art. Commissioner Henry Gillis has created some templates for stickers that are attached with the memo that can be placed at inlets to better educate the public on stormwater and where the water is discharged. Again, staff would need to approve any proposed plans for placing these stickers out in public with our legal department because they are attractive nuisances. Kids to read the stickers may go out in the street is the view from our legal team. So we'd have to figure out where and where not we can place these things. And then something else that I did not include in the memo is Alyssa from Northeast Wisconsin Stormwater Consortium is available to do a presentation to the commission. And I lost your email here, Emily, if you want to jump in, but the city of De Pere is slated to be on the exhibiting list for NUSC this year for them to present. Emily may have more details on that, but we just need to schedule a meeting. And I think you threw out the September meeting as a potential timeline for them to come in, but I'll jump off now.
Okay. Yeah, so those stickers are supposed to be kind of similar to like the Green Bay program is what we were originally thinking, but maybe more eye-catching. So I don't know. I think it was 2 or 3 meetings ago. How Green Bay does this program was shared with the group. And I just didn't think their stickers were very pretty. So I asked Alyssa with NUSC to help me come up with something maybe a little more eye-catching to get people aware. My idea with those stickers was they would be tied to the people who are like adopting their local neighborhood stormwater drain. And then like you would know that one's adopted and someone's cleaning it. And the September thing I thought was supposed to be we were going to hold some sort of stormwater event during Stormwater Week where she came in and talked to the public, not just us, like on some sort of day. And then I think we briefly talked about possibly having like the city there to show like what it looks like down a storm drain. So yeah, that's where I was at with some of this. But I've been working behind the scenes on a lot of this. We just haven't been talking about it as a group.
So we're kind of getting hit from both sides here. NUSC also owes us an exhibit where they come in and present on stormwater. So maybe I ask them to come in for the September Sustainability Commission, and then they can do a presentation as well. We're on their list for this year.
That sounds good.
And we do have this stormwater scheduled for the September farmers market as well. And one of the things Chase and I discussed, if we can't have live televising during the farmers market, is to create a video of a televising, either from the large storm sewer by the community center or from the parking lot out to the river that's just south of George Street there, to have that be able to play kind of on a loop as well. And I know we had previously also talked about having chalk maybe at that event that people could decorate around that stormwater inlet, depending on where our tent is.
Yeah, that was my plan for that, was to bring that kind of stuff. But I love that idea of the video.
Yeah, that's easy to do. Our camera can record as we're going down. It can get disorienting because our camera spins or can get jostled quite a bit, so it may be upside down for a portion depending on how it goes. It's just a push camera. But yeah, I think the best would be to actually get to the river and pick a location where we're maybe not necessarily submerged, or where we can see daylight and the river surface. So that I would have to nail down because I think a lot of our river outfalls are currently submerged.
Okay, so I guess my question then is, do we want to maybe ask her to be just at our booth that month and have that be her exhibiting, and then also come and talk to us that same month. Would that be like the easiest way to do this?
I would have no problem with it if she's open to it. Helps the city out too, because we're advertising the benefits and protecting our stormwater.
Emily, I have a question.
Yeah, go.
I like the idea of the sticker or whatever the art is, that it being connected to people that are going to be responsible for a storm drain or going to kind of keep it clear of debris. But as I understand it, not all of them drain to the waterways. So does that mean we'd have two designs for the stickers, or we just tell everybody that the wastewater drains to the waterways? Because I mean, one way or another, it's going to wind up in the water.
One way or another, everything does drain to a waterway in De Pere. It's either going to be a
Okay.
detention pond that then goes to a waterway, either the Schwabenon Creek, the Fox River, or the East River are the three big tributaries. Yeah, we don't, yeah, I can't think of any other sewer in the city that doesn't get captured in some way.
Okay, so then I withdraw the question. I was kind of understanding it wrong, but thanks.
I have a question. It's kind of for Emily. Do you need help with anything? And also, is there any way that we could create some sort of flyer that promotes what our booths are doing at the farmers market that's really eye appealing to drive people? You know, like we've picked real solid themes this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a good idea. Are you like saying we want like almost like a calendar of events for the first one? Like this month we're talking about this, next month we're talking about that.
Yeah, but like kind of like with more details because that's a lot going on at that booth. I know in August for the clean air one, I'm gonna do a lot too, and I just think it would help drive people there, you know? Kids can, color with chalk and because sometimes that market can be a little slow.
Yep.
So it could help the city of De Pere, in essence, educate more people. So Chase, if we were going to request something like that, who would have to do that to create that?
Create like a flyer like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably start with Betty or myself. We do have that budget for farmers market supplies. To date, we've only spent $375 of our $1,500 farmers market budget. So we do have room to play with this and get something going. And we can coordinate with city admin staff just to make sure everything we're sending out is kosher on their end too. Sound like a plan, Betty?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think my biggest concern would be that before we put anything out, especially if it's going to be a full calendar of everything that could be done at each one, that we nail down really what we want to offer and that we're not overextending ourselves.
Right.
Yep. All right. So any other discussion or comments on stormwater art discussion? Moving to update on urban orchards discussion.
Yes, so Selena of Rooted In sent us an email. She was able to meet with our city forester before he retired and then our health director on April 4th. I attached an email to the memo today outlining her discussion with city staff and her requests to the Sustainability Commission moving forward. Oh shoot, I put this memo together a month ago and then we carried it forward. I forget exactly what she's looking for support from the commission's behalf on maintaining and these orchards moving forward. I don't know if it was pesticides or what, but I'll open up to discussion. I'll read this quick and I can jump back in.
One thing I'll add, Crystal, the health director, did stop in the office today, and one of the big points that Celine had wanted was to have those signs at the urban orchards, and Crystal did pick up 4 signs today that are going to go at the schools, and then Brian, our park superintendent, has additional ones that will go at the park locations that have urban orchards.
Give me a minute to catch up. So on the Sustainability Commission side of things, she's wanting the commission to take on Samantha and the Brazier Orchards as a formal project, allocate dollars to use organic spray and applicator to apply to the trees. The trees there have never been sprayed. She wants to ensure the city isn't using pesticide to kill weeds around the orchards. She wants to allocate dollars for mulching around the trees. It ensures fungal breakdown and promotes tree health. She wants city support of using employee time to prune the trees. She wants to align with the high school to create signs to notify the public of the orchards and their benefits. Allocate dollars to invest in pollinator gardens at each park to help with the fruit trees. Work with Wild Ones and Emily's referenced in this. And then she wants to put fencing around the orchards to prevent deer were the requests.
I think what she put together was great, that she has very specific, asks, and she's more of an expert, and I think that's great. And I would say, yeah, let's do it. But then I also have lots of questions on what are the logistics of creating a project, making sure, trying to request funds, or, maybe you guys know a little bit more about what's feasible in our role.
I would agree, Rachel. And it's a lot. We talked about baby steps before. So it's kind of like, out of all those things, what would be the best place to start and the biggest win? Betty spoke to signs already. So I don't know what those signs look like or what they say, but I would assume that it's going to help. I think about how a pollinator garden could help there be better fruit, like the pollinator garden at the Westwood School is really helping that orchard. Pollinator garden, I don't know, Emily could speak to how much that would cost to put in. But those are kind of my thoughts right out of the gate, is maybe picking what can we do?
Yeah, did she say that she wanted to reach out to high school students to help make the signs?
Her email just says to align with high schools to create the signs.
Okay, because I just graduated high school, but I know who we turned our environmental club over to. So if she is interested in getting contact information, I can give them the contact information of our president for that club if in the fall she wanted to get that started, but I don't think they could do that in the summer. It would have to be pushed back until September, October. But I can definitely help out with that if she needs that contact information.
Chase, did you say something about that the trees have never been sprayed, or did I mishear that?
No, that's what's in her email, and for her discussion with city staff, that the trees haven't been sprayed. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding is they have not been sprayed. It's pretty evident. I've been to almost all of the orchards. But that they were spraying like weeds around the trees, something like that. Need more clarity. And that's why.
Right from what I heard from her.
Okay. And that's why it was just so crazy that, not really crazy, it's just, that's the way it goes, is that pollinator habitat garden at the Westwood School, those apples are extremely different. I mean, I have pictures from last year. It's incredible, the difference.
And
Sorry, something that I have to add about this is I talked to a guy this weekend who like loves pruning fruit trees. Like it's like the only thing he wants to do with his whole life. Um, and so I passed his contact information along to Selena to hopefully, I don't know, give her a resource or something like that.
And to circle back, we do have 10,000 in operating supply budget for community sustainable initiatives. And the next item we are talking about is the pollinator education plan. We wanted to create something to promote pollinators now that No Mow May is no longer going forward. So maybe doing a pollinator garden at these orchards is something the commission would want to consider. Because we do have funding, it's not necessarily something we need to budget for going forward. The bigger question would be the city staff side of things. I know on the park side, they are rather stretched thin, and that's why these orchards aren't getting the attention. So that'd have to be another discussion with our park superintendent.
I kind of was just thinking of an idea. So is it the 20th? I believe it's next week is the first farmers market where pollinator discussion is the topic. I wonder if it would be a good idea to have a sign up saying of volunteers that want to take care of some of these maintenance initiatives. You know, we talk about pollinators, then we talk about we kind of maybe we'll gain a little bit of staff help if that's a hurdle that we're trying to overcome.
I can ask that question to our health director too to see what concerns or issues they would have as part of the urban orchard team here in the city.
With like putting in a native planting, I love that idea. Like I will absolutely, if that's something we want to do, like I will take that on and find volunteers. I know the master gardeners are open to doing flash projects. So I mean, while they wouldn't maintain it because they maintain a lot of things, we may be able to use them as a resource to just do like a planting day. Same with Wild Ones. I mean, they're trying to get onto more projects a little bit. So they may be another place. Like I have a lot of contacts in those organizations, so we could try and tap into them. But then the maintenance, like there's a lot of weeding that goes into the first few years, and that's usually the hardest thing to get people to volunteer to help with.
I'll coordinate with our health director to see what she would need for us to get volunteers lined up to start helping with these things and any concerns, and I can bring that back to a future commission meeting.
So Chase, do we need to, or Betty, do we need to, we're not really at the point to take a vote over this. We're at the point that we're compiling lots of information.
No, and that's why today's a virtual meeting. So all this is really discussion items. There's nothing other than the vice chairperson and chairperson votes. That's really up for vote today.
Okay, so any other discussion on the update on the urban orchards? Moving on to pollinator education plan.
Yes, so as I alluded to in the last item, since we've chose to discontinue No Mow May, the Sustainability Commission indicated that an educational campaign should be created to promote the pollinators in the city and our new natural landscape ordinance. And that's something our Common Council echoed when they then discontinued No Mow May at their level. To start off this campaign, Mayor Boyd had issued a proclamation declaring June 17th through the 23rd City Pollinator Week. And then additionally, the Sustainability Commission plans to highlight pollinators at the June 20th Farmers Markets. Like the other items, the intent of this item is to allow the commission to discuss the education plan moving forward and bounce ideas off one another here.
Betty and I have been talking a lot about things that we're doing for this. I think at the booth we're going to have seed balls that people can make, and I think she made a bunch of bookmarks, and we're just going to have a lot of good information about pollinators and their importance.
Yeah, so adding on to what Commissioner Henry Gillis mentioned, so we have the seed ball matrix, and Emily is donating seeds so we can make the seed balls. We do have some wildflower bookmarks that I've been making. We also have some little bumblebee clothespin magnets that people can take home. We also have some different books people can use for reference, and some butterfly and bee houses that we're going to likely raffle off as part of the farmers market booth next week.
Would you like me to go show off your work, or do you want to keep it a surprise?
If you would like to grab some off my desk, that is fine.
Do we want to have a copy of the ordinance at the booth with us?
I think either having a copy of the ordinance or a QR code that goes to it for reference would probably be good, but maybe having it there so that we can reference it and explain what exactly is allowed and what isn't allowed as part of the new ordinance. There's one of the bumblebee magnet clothespins. It has little glittery wings and googly eyes. And there's one of the bookmarks that has little pressed flowers Mod Podged into it.
Would it be possible to get a copy of this, of the City Pollinator Week proclamation?
Yeah, I have a copy of it that was the proclamation that the mayor read at the previous city council meeting. So that it would be in the information packet. I can send everybody an email with a copy of that if you'd like it. But again, it would be in the agenda packet from the last city council meeting.
Not to ruin the
It's
surprise,
also
it is also the next item that we're talking about. I do have a copy in our agenda today.
Oh, thank you.
Can I make a copy of that at home? Or send that page?
Yeah, it's page 33 of today's agenda. It's easy. You can just download it from the website.
Okay.
Did he do, I know that all his proclamations, he does a video recording of them too, reading them. Do you know that if he's done that, and that can be something that we can promote too?
Let's discuss that on the next item.
Sounds good.
We'll stand up
I was
on
just,
the education plan.
sounds good. And then I was just going to ask, are you looking for ideas for the Facebook page? So optional things that people can do, because there's this really cool kids craft. It's actually pollinator homes, and you make it out of upcycled material, and you can actually hang them like in the trees or whatever. So are we looking for ideas to promote, like other things that people can do?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Janie. You had sent over a pollinator link in May when we were doing the bike and pedestrian safety. So I'm just a little behind on it, but looking to get a whole bunch of maybe weekly, like I did with that one, different pollinator things going out at least through this month, if not through periodically through the rest of the summer. So if anybody does have links or crafts, projects, different things that would relate, or even articles regarding slow-mo summer or other things that people can try and do. I think that would be great if you can send it my way. I can start writing up some Facebook posts.
All right. Any other discussion on the Pollinator education plan?
I would just say that it's in the forefront of my mind that we're not just dropping May, and to keep the idea that we need to have these other type of natural landscapes promoted. And I do see a path of continuing that through the orchards. So that's just where my mind's going, that these two things kind of run congruent together. And it could be effective to think of them like that.
Yeah.
Can we, I'm excited about the things that you're talking about for the farmers market. Can we kind of take some of that energy and in the fall connect the schools with the urban orchards? So to find either an art teacher if there are art projects, or a science teacher, or maybe both, that would be willing to do some of these lessons and to talk about what's a healthy lawn versus some of the things that we can get information to the kids. It would be hard for us to dictate to the schools what to do, but if we can find one or two teachers that are willing to be our spokesperson, that might be a way to get some of these talking points out and get the kids working on projects.
I love that, John. I think we already have a good connection, although Hope's not there anymore at that school, but
No, but I think it should be at different schools, and we can, depending on how we do the funding for urban orchards, that we either focus on one or two schools and we really develop those orchards, or we do one or two simple action steps, and then the kids could maybe be involved in, I don't know if not the weeding, but make it a lesson where they're learning what are the good things that need to be done to maintain the orchards. Maybe we get volunteers to lead those sessions. I don't know.
I know that there are ecology classes at my school, and they just started an AP Environmental Science. So if you're looking at East of here, know that like the ecology class would probably be very interested in like looking at that sort of thing, and then I'm sure an AP Environmental Science would be as well.
all right. So any other discussion on Pollinator education plan? Moving to City Pollinator Week Proclamation.
Yes, so at the June 4th, 2024 Common Council meeting, Mayor Boyd issued the attached proclamation declaring that June 17th through the 23rd be declared City Pollinator Week. I'm not seeing on our website where we have that proclamation posted yet. Looks like in the past we've attached at least PDF versions of the proclamations for the public to see. And as far as the video recording goes, I'm unsure of that. We can reach out to our media team here at the city and see what they know regarding that. It's recorded, it's a common council meeting, so worst case we can do a snippet. Betty would know more on that than I would.
Yeah, I can reach out to Stephen if we want to have that portion of the council meeting pulled out, and we can post it on the Sustainability Commission webpage, and that's where I would put the proclamation as well.
Any other discussion on the City Pollinator Week Proclamation? Moving to Farmers Market sign-up discussion.
Yes, so sign up is available for the Sustainability Commission's Farmers Market booth for volunteers. We're scheduled for the third Thursday of each month, as we've spoken on in the past. And then I've listed our themes in the agenda today for the 4 different meetings. On July 18th, Corey Groshek has committed to attend to discuss Pure Food Scraps and Organics Recycling Program partnering the city with Greener Bay Compost. We are still looking for volunteers, and it's my understanding we have quite a few slots open yet.
That is correct. Next week we have um, one individual we could use for both time slots. The July one, actually our first time slot, we don't have anybody scheduled at this time. And I would hate to cancel it knowing that Corey was coming. So if somebody's available July 18th for that 3 to 5:30 slot, if we could at least get one person listed on there, we can still hold that event. The August 15th, the first time slot is full. The second one does have an opening. And the September 19th, the first time slot is full, and the second time slot from 5 to 7 does have one opening. So if people do have availability and want to jump on any of those openings, I can resend out that link if we want tomorrow.
Yeah, if you could resend out that link, that would be great. Thank you.
I'll do, what is it, 3 to 5:30 on July 18th?
Yes, that would be the first shift.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you, Randall.
When you resend out the link, I'll probably sign up for, I think it was the July one. I was just waiting because I just started a new job, so I didn't want to try to ask to leave early, but it's pretty cool. I could probably now do it.
Thank you, Rachel.
Any other discussion on farmers market sign up? Then moving to current sustainable project.
Yes, so this is my second iteration of our sustainable projects. I want to highlight that the Department of Public Works is overtaking. If you're driving through city just south of Schuring, Lawrence Drive has been torn up for almost a month and a half now. And what we're doing is we're reconstructing the road and reducing the travel lanes from 2 in both directions down to only 1 lane in both directions with a shared two-way left turn lane in the middle. And in doing this, the reduction of travel lanes is allowing the city to add bike lanes on both sides of the road without adding impervious surface. So we're able to keep kind of the same cross section of roadway that's out there. We don't have the need for the amount of travel lanes we have out there, so we're reducing those. And then we're promoting sustainable commuting with the addition of bike lanes, and then they are assessing sidewalk to make sure they're meeting ADA compliance. There are some sidewalks improvements that are happening as part of this work. Additionally, we have a trail crossing for the Preserve Trail, pedestrian refuge island with a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFB system is going to be installed to allow for easier crossing of Lawrence Drive for trail users. I've attached 2 exhibits to our memo if you want to review those. One is showing the typical section of the road and as part of the reconstruction, and the second is showing the proposed pedestrian refuge island at the Preserve Trail with a sample RRFB sign. So the addition of bike lanes resulted in no new impervious surface being added due to the ability to reduce travel lanes on Lawrence Drive. Completing this project will result in better pedestrian and bike connectivity through the city and the promotion of sustainable commuting practices. To highlight, we're switching over to our second phase, I think next week on that job. So currently half the road is shut down and they'll swap over and repave the other half. So we're nearing halfway point on the project.
Is this switch going to change how much water is going into the preserve? Because I'm very curious about that location.
No, I don't think it's going to have any dramatic impact with the preserve. You're talking with the Schwabenheim Creek in the back end there and the couple crossings with culverts we have.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very flashy area, and there is what I consider active erosion, but every time I try and ask about it, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's an area that has some, I don't know, flashy water and erosion issues. So I'm just curious with all of the construction and the changes, if that's going to affect that.
This area is serviced by regional detention ponds. Those ponds aren't changing. The basins that are draining to the pond isn't changing. We're not increasing the impervious surface. We are improving the storm sewer, so maybe you see an extended time of concentration where it's taking a little bit longer for the water to reach the ponds. but the discharge system from the ponds into the Ashwaubenon Creek isn't changing. And I don't know about further south, southwest in Lawrence, that area is really starting to boom too with home growth. So that may get flashier, or it may slow down the flow of stormwater as additional ponds are built to help restrict the flow of storm. But yeah, that is a flashy area. We are aware of some erosion issues in there, and we're looking to address them as early as this summer, especially the steeper slope on the south side of that trail. But in there, we do monitor those culverts just to make sure active destructive erosion isn't occurring.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or discussion on the current sustainable project?
Where you had said that they're planning on monitoring some of the erosion control. Do you know how they're trying to do that? Because I could see it native, vegetation maybe being part of that instead of like some gray infrastructure.
So we have a couple different issues. One is where we get concentrated flow flowing down hills. Water transfers from what's called sheet flow, where it's just kind of draining in sheets, down into channels where it's channelized. And if speeds get fast enough on that channelized flow, it causes erosion. So where the new United Health building is in that pond, on the back side of that pond, we have a slope going down where water is really collecting on one side of the path, and it's starting to eat away at the path itself and eroding down. So we're looking at maybe paving that, making it's already impervious because it's gravel, but paving it and putting a channelized, almost gutter system to better collect that water and prevent it from eroding the path itself. The other issue we have is the creek itself is very flashy, and when it gets a bunch of flow, the river stage goes up, and then the currents in there just really start to rip at the banks, and it really can knock down trees and get destructive that way. What we need there is more of an armored system and bigger vegetation. I don't know if natural landscapes would. It is a benefit getting those root systems in, but I don't think it's going to be to the scale that we need to help control the flows that we're seeing in that system there.
I agree with that. There is a cool project Inkapot watersheds, which is like down near, I want to say Wrightstown, but that could be wrong, where they did some like weird like tree things where they like basically stuck like half of a tree and like stuck it into the shoreline to help with the flow. Like I don't remember any of it, but just an idea of something else that's happening.
All right, any other discussion on the current sustainable project? Moving on to future agenda items.
Yeah, I've got a point, an opportunity. Greenwood Cemetery on the south end of De Pere. It's actually part of Ledgeview, but you can go out there and see it. Just did an enormous project this winter to reduce erosion because it was quite serious. And you can go out there and see what they've done, and it'll be telling us throughout the next year or two as all that grass grows or the plantings that they did on the river. It's not we didn't put trees. It's all kind of prairie grasses and things like this that are going to hold and stabilize that bank better than what we had, which was a lot of invasive. What are those trees that are all over everywhere? That we had the goats out to eat them several times and try to keep them in control, but those don't hold erosion very well. And the engineering firm Robert E. Lee and their sister organization NES did all that planning, and the DNR accepted it, and it's pretty interesting. You can go out there and walk around. It's an open cemetery, and it might be very interesting for you to look at it.
All right, so did you did you want to put that as are we taking future agenda items?
Being that that's not in the city, I don't know if that's necessarily an agenda item we'd want to add, but
Well,
it
it'd be
is.
an educational opportunity item. Is really what it is. Um, you know, the biggest challenge we have probably is in terms of water is how do we help the Fox River get cleaner? And this is what you were talking about in terms of the project out in West Superior, and it's what I was discussing at this time. You build your knowledge base and you can do things differently. If you don't build your knowledge base, you don't do things differently, and we get more of the same.
Would you like to put that down as an agenda item for future discussion as to how we might utilize that for educational purposes or something?
Yeah, we can discuss. I'll make note.
That's interesting. I could pull that engineering study out and find out how NES addressed that so that we'd be more we'd pull in more knowledge about what they did and why they did it.
All right, any other future agenda items or discussion? All right, so Betty or Chase, do I just
Maybe
do a
have one
motion?
more.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
The Lawton Company is a Green Tier 2 corporation. It's one of the first in the state that achieved that. And it would be of value to this group to understand how an organization can achieve this green tier status, which is I think the city's green tier, if I'm not mistaken, when I first got recruited onto the sustainability, I was talking to the mayor about this, but we took it up a notch for a whole bunch of different reasons. And I think that with our organizations having as much pollution impact on the community and the region as they have, just because they do things, in greater scale than residential homes or anything, we should understand what some companies can do. And it might be that we want to communicate that opportunity to corporations throughout the city. This is the kind of the bully pulpit that we hold, and it could be of what I would call substantial impact if we think this through and plan this out. So I could get the environmental person at the Lawton Company to come in and talk to us about that at a future meeting.
I like that idea.
I think it would be beneficial, especially with the clean energy plan. We might learn something. I'm sure
If
we
you
would
have a
learn
date in
something.
mind, send it forward and we'll get it included with an agenda.
Sounds good. All right. Any other discussion on future agenda items? All right. I think I just have to make a motion to end the meeting.
You can make the motion. I will second that motion, and then we just need to vote on it.
Everybody that agrees to end the meeting. Am I saying that right, John?
Sure.
Adjourn is the fancy word, but I knew what you meant.
Thank you. Do we agree to adjourn the meeting? Everyone say aye.
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 Aye. All right, meeting adjourned.